see the trees moan. The man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howl in the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please.
Hello. Welcome to Friday Night Bigfoot Live right here at the Bigfoot of America podcast show. I'm your host, Bryan Sawyer, coming at you. Excited to be here as always on Friday nights to kind of dig into the whole Bigfoot and cryptid world. So, recapping, last week we touched a little bit on our season 1. We pulled up a few episodes. We kind of went through them play by play just to recap them. Today, we're going to do season 2, and we got some special guests here from some of the episodes of season 2, and then we're going to premiere season 3, episode 1 right here. We just released that over the last 24 hours, I think. You can see that on YouTube, but we're going to touch on it today for a little bit, and then that immediately gets released to Roku TV through the Bigfoot TV app. So and then season 3 is underway. I'm editing nonstop, and I was telling our guests backstage, man, we've got, of course, enough material for season 3 and about half of season 4. So as soon as season 3 is done, I think we're going to go right into season 4. I've already got some more eyewitness interviews lined up with like Brian Barber, and we're going to film those and probably squeeze those into season 4. So we'll have season 3 released by the end of September, and then right after that, we'll do season 4. All the way till the end of the year. So and then of course we're going to have to start announcing for interviewees for season 5. So as you can tell, it's very busy around here. And also tune in every Tuesday and Thursday night. I'm on the NCI podcast show with the NCI guys. It's fantastic. That's the North Carolina Investigators. Subscribe to them on YouTube as well. So I'm on a podcast show, man, Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays, and a lot of Mondays and Wednesdays if we're recording episodes. So we're creeping up. I think this is possibly episode 90. So we're creeping up on 100 episodes. And with that said, you can see most of those episodes on all the social media platforms. Of course, Spotify and Apple Podcasts through Spreaker.com. Podserve as well. And then of course Roku TV through the Bigfoot TV app. So hopefully that kind of catches everybody up to where we're at right now. We're just going full steam ahead, and let me tell you, it's so much fun, and we couldn't do this without you, the eyewitnesses. So, also, I'm going to be speaking a week from tomorrow at the Lansing, I think it's Paracon, the Capital Paracon. I'm going to be speaking there Saturday, September. Where's my notes at 8th? I just want to make sure I get that right. I think it's the 8th. So a week from tomorrow. So I'll be there all day. Just getting up there speaking. I'll be on the panel for questions, whatever you guys want to talk about. Go ahead. I think it's the first year for the Capital Paracon. So get on up there. And then of course, September 26th, it's our official actual second town hall meeting at the lodge in Gladwin, Michigan. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We got a ton of speakers we're lining up. Man, we just kind of want to pack the house, see how many people show up. And once again, this is our second one, but if enough people show up, we'll go ahead and make it an annual thing. So I think I've caught up on all my notes I was supposed to tell you. So let's go ahead and get on with the show. We will bring in our eyewitnesses. All right, Sherry Radu, come on in. How you doing, Sherry?
Hi, good. How are you all doing?
fantastic. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I know you've been busy. So thanks for being back on the show today. You're just a long-standing co-host and one of my partners in this, and just appreciate you so much, and excited to kind of recap your episode 1 of season 2 a little bit, because we're going to talk about a couple of points that are very important. One of the things I always want to do, Sherry, is kind of have our show pointed at people who are fully schooled in the paranormal Bigfoot world, but also to the general public who is just now starting to warm up to the cryptid investigations, Bigfoot sightings, all of that. So we kind of want to put Bigfoot on the map a little bit more, Dogman on the map a little bit more, and of course, fairies. We can't forget about fairies, right, Sherry?
That's right. Absolutely. They all count one way or the other. They count.
Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll bring in Scott Brush is here. Scott Brush, what's going on, my man?
How's it going, buddy?
Oh, man. Going spectacular. Glad to have you on the show. You are episode 7 of season 2. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Glad I remembered that. You'd think I know by now, but you should see.
Don't worry. I haven't forgotten, Brian. I have not forgotten. Don't worry.
Fantastic. So we're going to go over your episode a little bit more. What have you been up to lately, Scott?
Digging deep in the research, man. Digging deep, because I'm going through the Book of Giants now.
Oh,
which is spoken of a little bit in the Book of Enoch, but the Book of Giants talks about 200 different animals being used for miscegenation. So basically making cryptids. So I wonder if I'm finding a connection, 200 fallen angels, 200 animals, who knows?
Oh, yeah. And that's not to cut you down, but that's long-standing. Guys like Timothy Alberino, Derek Gilbert, Tom Horn, Stephen Quayle, they pointed that out, that, after the fallen angels got on with the earthly women, like you said, they went ahead and started, maybe they were surprised they could procreate, and that they're creating these giants. Then they jumped out, and that's where it gets real. I mean, it's already crazy as it is. They left their first estates, the Bible said, and then went out, started doing stuff against God, perverting his creation, and they jumped on animals. And I'm going to leave that to you, though, to dig into that more. You know, I try to, not that I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying I don't believe that, but I'm trying to kind of hold all avenues here. And you can't make anyone, it's like Christianity. You never want to force anyone into your own beliefs. You just want to supply them with the evidence. Everybody's grown. Everybody has a right to make up their own mind, make up their own decisions. You know, whether Bigfoot are that, or they're a part of a Native American long-standing lost tribe, or part of the Neanderthal line. And I don't know, man. We just...
That's why it's fun, though, right? The possibilities, man.
Bingo. That's,
you know what I mean?
It.
Like, if my research has to change based off new findings, so be it. That's a good researcher. If you have to change your course of action based on the evidence, so far
I just want to have right, but I just want to have all that evidence. That's what's important. So then you make up your own mind, man, and everybody's free to do that. Hey, let's go ahead and bring in. Oh, did she pop out? Okay, Cheryl Green was there, but then she popped back out. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and dive in. You know, I got to probably be out of here in about an hour. Hopefully, Matthew Sexton will jump in again. If not, we'll go ahead and point out, because his episode is important. And all right, I'm not going to say that right now. What I'm going to say to you two right now is, now this is going to, for people who are Bigfooters and involved in this, what I'm about to say is going to sound stupid. And it's like, what? You know, that's not right. But to the general public, I want to make a statement. And that statement is, you just don't go walking out into the woods and expect to find Bigfoot. There is what we would call evidence. So before we get started, guys, let's point out, and I got to get my pen out right here because I'm sure you're going to throw stuff at me I can't remember. So what are common denominators of Bigfoot sightings. Now, I'm going to do the obvious, and then I'm going to let you two have at it. The obvious number one, and I'm writing this down, is eyewitnesses. You got to have eyewitnesses in a location. All right. So anybody else with
There
any
has to be people
idea
to
of
see
a
the
common
phenomena.
denominator of Bigfoot sightings? All right, go ahead. Whoever.
A lot of them tend to be unexpected. I've noticed that. Like you or me, we'll go in there, we already believe. But to somebody that has no idea what Bigfoot is, or maybe only heard it once or twice in their life, it seems to be kind of a surprising thing. I think Bigfoot sometimes sees the person first.
That's amazing, because this is what you just said, Scott, is actually huge. My fairy sighting, I did not expect to see it, and for some reason it did not expect me to be able to see it. So my formulation was that it had slowed down its frequency or its vibration so much, maybe too much, to the point where I could see it, and it didn't realize that it had slowed down its vibration so much to where it became physically where I could see it. So that statement is huge, because there is what, you guys, there is the mischievous side of Bigfoot, where this is now, you guys chime in if you want to. I don't want to use the term get off, but I think they get tickled if they can scare us sometimes. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, absolutely. The juveniles are playful, man. The juveniles will take your stuff. They'll pull your backpack when you're not looking and yank you back a couple feet. I mean, all that kind of stuff. I think that's where they're TV.
Or in your episode case, we're walking down and it seemed like somebody came up behind me and unzipped my whole backpack and everything fell out.
You had gear straight falling out of your bag, and apparently that's never happened in any investigation or recording before for you. So,
yep.
It's weird out there, man. It's weird. And you felt them woods. Like, it's in a relatively urban environment, but there's just something about back there. Like, you can feel the layers of stuff that take place there.
Well said. Well said. Sherry, you got any ideas of a common denominator that happens with Bigfoot or Dogman sightings or fairies?
Well, I would think, and in several cases I've heard where they have felt something was watching them, or was being watched. That seemed to be a common thing before they were even apparent of anything going on. And especially in my case, I was oblivious to what was going on. But that seems to be something that kind of you hear quite frequently. And the other thing is those blurry pictures, dang it.
Oh, it's huge.
Videos and pictures. What's up with that,
Well, yeah, too. So let's go back to, you get a feeling, whether it's you get goosebumps, your hair stand up on your arm, you get a feeling, and I would call it, and we're going to touch on this in Matthew Sexton's episode. And I spoke about this on another podcast show recently, I think with Derek Gilbert. There is a presence that moves in. It's almost like a sphere, a different atmosphere moves in. And you guys know this, where everything shuts down, it's silent, and their presence is known. Now, some people at home, oh, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Look, all I can do is, with my eyewitness accounts, is correlate when I've heard the samurai chatter, when I've heard the woodoo, the speaking, when I've heard the Sierra sounds, when they're in close proximity, everything else shuts off. The crickets stop, the birds, whatever's going on, the frogs stop. It's quiet, and then it's a deathly still, and then you hear them doing something. So good job on that one. You get a feeling. And then what was the other one?
I got a theory on that too.
Oh, let's hear it, my man.
I honestly think that it's like an interdimensional overlap. Because when you think about like going interdimensionally, what does the human brain do? We're thinking of light years away, different galaxies. I look at it more like reality stacked and adjacent. So picture like a shoe cabinet. Earth is just one drawer. Another drawer is Bigfoot. They can peek from their drawer into ours and just snap back out like it's nothing. And imagine if you're here and you're here and you're sideways, it'd be way easier to peek in than being like off in another planet somewhere.
Good stuff.
So I think that's what that is. Your ears pop, and it's like your body just can't handle for a second what's taking place. So that's why I'm thinking our realms are merging when they manifest.
That makes sense, man. That makes sense. And that leads me to remind myself what I said the other day. I work, of course, for one of the big three, for Ford Motor Company, and I would never call a Ford a Chevy, or a Chevy a Ford, or a Dodge a Chevy, or a Chrysler a Ford. And so that brings into the idea of how many different types of creatures there are. Different types of Bigfoot. There are different types of dogman, some that have human legs, some that have the werewolf legs. And so just think of Roman mythology. Scott, I know you and I have talked about this a million times. I'm thinking all that stuff was real at one time. Who knows what exists still? But yeah, digging into the ancient texts about dogman tribes in India, creatures that have their head or face in their chest. Of course, cyclopses, minotaurs, satyrs, all that kind of stuff. I'm starting to believe that, like Scott is saying, the Book of Giants reveals that, man, these fallen angels may have gotten on with 200 plus different kinds of animals and created different, half man, half goat, half man, half bull, all this kind of stuff. So that could be another avenue. All right. So we've got eyewitnesses. It's unexpected. There's an atmosphere, or you get a feeling. Then I'm going to throw out a physical, biological aspect that we've talked about a million times. A water source, a flowing water source. The cleaner, the better. The more fish, the better. That's where they're going to be at. Sure, they're going to be in swamps as well. But I find they always seem to nest. We've got some more tracking of the Black River Bigfoots up here, and it has to do with and down at Brenda Goodwin, Kalamazoo County. They're nesting, I believe, on a tributary of a larger vein river. So you got a main river, and then like the little creeks that run off, that's where they nest, because I think they come in, whether they're transporting in through portals or they're waking up in the morning, and then they're just following the creek down to the main river at nighttime, or whatever. I should say at nighttime, because they're more active. So yeah, let's throw in rivers, and cleaner water, the better. Any other ideas?
Well, I like the disappearing footstep, the footprints.
Yes.
The whole, and then they just disappear.
But
yeah,
just a trackway that you're like, okay, where did it go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's where I think they're leaving our reality at that point. When the trail just stops, they stepped into a portal or something, That's the only thing that makes any sort of sense.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And then let's throw in another one: howls or tree knocks.
Yeah.
Which could be vocal cords, right, guys? The tree knocks may be abilities with their vocal cords.
I can agree with that. Do I think some of it's actually knocking? Yeah. But I think a lot of it could be double sets of vocal cords, throat singing
and
type stuff.
That comes from Matthew Sexton. That's his point of view. But the Mountain Man, who's one of our episodes in our podcast show going back, the Mountain Man has actually seen them physically, kind of belch up, coming from their chest through their neck, out their mouth. He's seen them do that sound, that wood knocking sound. So we've got at least one eyewitness, the Mountain Man. So go back and see that episode, everybody, on the podcast show. All right. Howls, let's see. Go ahead.
What about the structures, the tree structures, the different types that they have, right? There's, you could be across the country and still see similar structures that are, built, miles away from each other, but they have the same templating to them, just like birds, how they nest. They know how to build a nest, right? And they, science has always been boggled by birds and nest in their style of nesting, and they still can't figure out how they do it. Nobody teaches them, but yet you got these structures everywhere that are very similar.
How can we have thousands of miles of distance and have very similar repeating structural patterns
Yeah.
in different places. I think it's because they all learned from the same things. I wonder if maybe they learned from the Native Americans, and that's why we have a lot of the teepee structures. Or maybe they taught the Native Americans about the
Vice
teepees.
versa.
Yeah.
Exactly, Scott.
Good
A lot of
stuff.
them, I
Good
think, are
stuff.
just, I think, resource markers. A tree break next to a creek might be a marker like, hey, this is where my clan gets their water from. I think a lot of it, like the curved, the arched trees, you
Mhm.
have to force a tree to grow that way. That doesn't just happen. I mean,
Yeah.
there's manipulation involved with that.
Yeah.
And go
Well,
ahead.
Josh had mentioned too, some of these structures and the way they're templated, especially the teepee kind, are portals to other dimensions. They could be using them as a device versus a living in.
Like a Stargate or something along those
Yes.
lines.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put that down? Can I put portals down? I'm going to put portals / interdimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way we've got about 10 common denominators of Bigfoot sightings. And I'm sure we'll add to that. Let's go ahead and check in with everybody. Brenda Goodwin is watching. She says she's got a blacksmith coming soon to check for an abscess in one of her horse's hooves. All right, no problem. Thanks for letting us know. Brenda, side note, I'll be contacting you. I'm starting to go over footage. Yes, remember we were doing our interview and it got dark. So I gotta see if we've got enough of the interview before it got dark, and hopefully we won't have to do a reshoot, but I'll be in contact with you. I got to get Donna Copus's reshot first. Brenda Goodwin says, though, that they might be able to read our frequencies, our vibrations, as well as our intentions. So our auras as well. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's check in here. John Stewart says hello from Florida. I might be seeing John when I head down to Florida here in a couple of weeks. Oh, looking good, looking good. Nora Scott says hello, hello. Happy Friday, boom, boom, and everyone. Bev Strada says, yes, Bev, thank you so much. What did Bev just say? Let me bring it on stage here. This is it. Bingo. Hold on. It should say show. How about smells? Duh.
That's a good
Hello?
question. I've never smelled one before, to be honest. I've never had a foul smelling Sasquatch encounter.
Either have I. My girlfriend did and her son, because it passed between us. But you're right, Scott. We haven't. That dead dog. Yeah.
That skunky, wet, matted dog. I've never had that. I wonder if that's
rotten
more
egg,
like a
sulfur smell.
like a hormone release, maybe like a pheromone when they feel threatened, or they're trying to, maybe a testosterone type thing. That could be like a natural frequency.
When I had my experience with the smell, he was cloaked.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Now it smells and I can't see it.
And I'm writing that down. Cloaking. I hadn't written that down yet. Cloaking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, cloaking's pretty popular too. Cloaking seems to be more. I see it like the same thing, but different terms. People call it the chameleon effect or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a natural built-in thing that they have to be able to blend in.
Might be why their footprints disappeared too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look at what the praying mantis does. Praying mantis can turn into the same color of any surface that they sit on. So, I mean, why couldn't a Bigfoot, right?
A chameleon.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, guys, let's take a commercial break for one of my sponsors. Let's take a...
No friends online? Start a full AI Wolves match with AI players. Choose Quick Start. Each game gives you a hidden role. You may protect the village, investigate others, or become a wolf hiding in plain sight. At night, secret actions happen. When the village wakes up, the discussion begins. AI players accuse, defend, question, and try to convince you. Read carefully. Some players may be telling the truth, and some may be lying. Choose who seems suspicious, defend your decision, and vote carefully. Each round continues until the villagers find the wolves, or the wolves take over. AI Wolves. Find the liar, Survive the vote.
Fantastic. That is the new AI Wolves phone game. That one goes on your phone. And hey, if you don't have any of your friends to play against, you get to play against AI. So pretty cool phone game that just came out. Something happened. Something fell here. Hold on, guys. All right, I got it. All right, guys.
What about red eye?
We're gonna go ahead and jump into Sherry Redue's season 2, episode 1. And what is there but all these common denominators that we talked about? That's what's in Sherry Redue's episode. So let's watch a little bit of this. Let's get it going.
Back.
Okay, right along this shoreline here.
So I had to crawl through a lot of down, we call layovers, down trees that are reaching out into the lake. So I was crawling through quite a vast area through these lakes.
Down in the valleys where the cedar trees moan, the man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howl in the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please.
Man, that song's awesome.
Isn't that neat?
It is.
Hey, Sherry.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
First of all, thanks for being with Bigfoots of Michigan. And thanks so much for bringing us out to the location of your sighting, your close encounter. And there was a series of events that led up to that close encounter. So why don't you tell it to us from the beginning?
Sure, yeah. Well, I was out doing some photography for a late sunset. Wanted to capture the sunset and do some rock hunting.
Okay.
And when I was coming back, I hiked out about 2.5 miles and came back, so I was on my journey back.
Okay, right along this shoreline here.
So I had to crawl through a lot of down, we call layovers, down trees that are reaching out into the lake. So I was crawling through quite a vast area through these laydowns, and finally got through them to this side of them.
Okay.
And I wanted to set up pretty close to that area for some shots. So once I got through the laydowns, I was kind of scoping out my view down the shoreline, see where I want to capture the sun and such, and I kind of had a sense something was present around me.
Okay.
It was an intense feeling.
Like the hair standing up on the back of your neck.
To the point where I stopped and said, we looked around.
Okay.
I looked around.
All right, kids, what did we just do? We just checked one thing off the list. You got a feeling. All right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was funny. All right, back on.
See, could it be? Like, it didn't feel right.
Okay. And there's like a bank. It kind of,
I was up against the embankment.
Okay.
There wasn't much of a shoreline from the water's edge to the embankment, and there's trees sticking out, so you only got like a little bit of walkway.
And this was just 1 month ago.
Correct, 1 month ago.
Okay, so the water was a little bit higher. You had less
evening,
of a shoreline.
You had a tide that comes in kind of close up to the shore. It was a quiet night. The lake was very calm. And so I was standing there, and I just had that sense something was around. So I proceeded to walk carefully along these rocks. It's a very treacherous area where I walk on these rocks because they roll under your feet.
Okay.
So I had to take it easy. I was walking through here, but I'm looking, I'm kind of shaking it off and kind of walking around and looking. So I stopped in another area, just a little ways past that. And I stopped and I was like really scoping out my view. I thought, I think I like this view. And all of a sudden, this rock, a quite large rock.
Okay.
Quite a large rock. flew through the air and landed right behind me, about 10 feet behind me.
Oh, wow.
15 feet.
Then
So I'm adding that to the list. We didn't have that before. Rock throws.
Yeah.
That happened with you, Sherry. Let's talk about that for a minute. I know it's kind of loud and the audio isn't coming through too much, but let's recap that, Sherry. What happened with the rock throws?
Well, again, it's it's a treacherous area, and it's the embankment to the shoreline was the shoreline edge was maybe 15 feet because the water was so high. So I was walking on the rocks, and I was, like I said, scoping out that photo shoot for a very nice sunset shoot in the fall. So I just was standing there, and all of a sudden, this huge rock come flying through the air. Now, to make a point of this is something that's very unique that I want to make sure everybody understands. When you're walking around in these areas of dunes, it's not uncommon for rock to come, falling down a slope, and you can hear it coming. This made no sound, and it came down with such velocity that when it impacted the rocks that I was standing on, it shattered them. It shattered them into pieces. Now, that kind of impact and that noise and velocity that it rolled into the lake. This is something that just doesn't fall down a slope. This came through the trees, through the, and it was I felt like deliberately targeting me, and it missed me, thank God. Because that impact was it sprayed the rocks. Now, we're talking rocks. We're talking rocks. And it shattered them. So it shattered them to the point where when they shattered, they hit the back of my pants. Now, I was standing 10, 15 feet from that. So it sprayed it. So this is why I'm pointing this out, because that is an impact that, that I don't even know how to describe it. It's not going to come from a rock that wasn't thrown with intention. I was a softball pitcher and a baseball pitcher for a long time. I know what that's like when a bat hits that baseball. So, so that was one of the things that really shocked me. But not knowing, Bryan, I had no clue I was being stalked or followed or anything. This was something I had no idea. I never thought of Bigfoot. So I said, okay, if this is coming down because of the trees were laying down they were laying out into the water. I thought, well, if this hillside's coming down, I don't want to be at the bottom of it. So I moved down the shoreline more, about 30, 40 yards more, maybe. I don't remember now, but quite a ways away from that spot, just in case that hillside's coming down. I didn't want to be at the bottom of that.
What's so fascinating to me is, what is that? That's first contact. I know that sounds corny. That's a UFO phrase, but this is Bigfoot first contact. This thing was trying to get your attention. It may have seen you before. And what is so phenomenal is because your story is so, we love all of our Bigfoot eyewitness, but this wasn't a 5-second sighting on the side of the road. There was an intent behind this Sasquatch making first contact with you. Let's go ahead to the video. I'm going to speed it up to that point where you're explaining that. I know the audio's loud, but let's go ahead and do that.
Smashed down on the rocks. Up.
Yeah.
It's hard to start walking on these rocks because it's on an angle. So it's treacherous.
For sure.
So I came through these laydowns and just crawled through this last piece of area right here. And I was standing here and I was looking at the rocks, and all of a sudden I was like, why do I feel like someone followed me? And I know that
there's nobody really around. And I'm looking up and I don't see anything, but I really feel the sense that somebody's watching me.
Right.
At this point, it was real heavy sense. It didn't occur to me any other time at all. It just hit me as an immediate alert. So that's when I unclipped my handgun because I just felt that there's something very near me.
All right, Sherry. So this is the spot where the rock was thrown at you?
Yes, I was standing there, scoping out my photo shoot, looking down the shore this way, pointed out this way, looking and measuring my distance and everything, and all of a sudden I hear something just slam right next to me. And it hit so hard that it moved these rocks out. Matter of fact, here you can see some broken rock. This is shattered. And it hit, bounced out, and that's where it ended. Up there, into the shore, into this water's edge.
So with some force, that rock came flying out real close to you.
And the thing is, the way this is set up in the back, if it was a rolling rock, it would not have had that momentum and not fly through the air.
Right.
It just flew through the air and hit and impacted very, very hard. I'm looking again, I'm thinking, well, whatever. So I laid down, started photographing, and that's when I heard a really loud, at that point, I thought, a knock. Okay. Almost like something took a big large stick or branch or something and hit the side of a tree or something. So my instinct was a tree was coming down and I didn't want to be underneath it. So I kind of rolled around on my belly to turn around and see what the heck was going on. And I didn't see anything. Again, I kept hearing this bang.
All right, so you've got the rock thrown at you. Right after that, you hear the tree knocks. This is the unexpected part, guys, right? This is the unexpected part where things start happening, activity starts happening, but we don't know it's a Bigfoot. We're not thinking Bigfoot. It's like Sherry's thinking, man, how did that happen? And then, oh man, is a tree falling down? What's going on? So give us your thoughts on that, Sherry, and then what happened after that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had, again, no idea what was happening other than I was concerned the hillsides were coming down. The day we went filming was, the wind was really blowing there, but that night you got to realize, folks, that night was dead calm. There was not a sound around, again, to that point where it just seems like you're in a bubble. There was no sound. Even Lake Michigan made no sound. No waves. It was like glass.
Wow.
And you're thinking back now and understanding, because I had no understanding of any of this 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now. Thinking back now, I understand and can and have more insight into what was really going on there at the time. But
and that's what Scott, sorry to interrupt you, but that's what Scott just said prior to rolling this is, I said like an atmosphere. You said what you said, like their dimension kind of intruding into our dimension, Scott.
Yep, like the overlap, interdimensional overlap. They pop into our reality and it has a physical clash, in my honest opinion, and we feel it. Like that acoustic veil where you can't hear anything. That's not a naturally occurring phenomena. When you read about that, it's usually in areas of high strangeness and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if these things have a supernatural element, that answers it for me. Why they can move through dry leaves and everything quietly, interdimensional travels, underground possible travel, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so much. It's so much, man. So much.
Fantastic. All right, Sherry, back to you. We want to keep this thing rolling along. We've only got so much time. When did you start to your exit strategy? When did that bell ring and you're like, you know what? I need to get out of here.
Well, it rang when the sun set because I got all the shots that I needed. And it was getting, in the fall, it gets dark fast. Like once that sun goes down below the horizon, it gets dark real fast. The sky turns dark purple. So, but being out on the lake, you get a lot of that reflection out of the water. So it's brighter on the shoreline than it is in the woods. And I had parked, and had to walk through woods to get to my vehicle. So I decided, because I was out quite a ways out still, I decided to pack it in. I got the shots I needed and beat the sun, at least beat the light to where I need to come in on the shore. In the shoreline where I had come in on was about a 25-foot maybe bluff where you had to kind of like climb up it and get on top of it.
Yeah, let me jump to that. Let me try to get it that so
Yeah.
people can see that in a video. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
add that back to stage.
Someone hitting a tree or something.
All right, some kind of activity. And so then you're walking up here, heading back to your vehicle, and that's when the sighting happens. And it wasn't really a nice sighting either. Close encounter.
It was a close encounter at that point.
All right, let's take a walk up there.
It was standing right here. But it was standing, I want to say like sideways. Like I'm standing over there. So
Okay.
from this, it's quite, he's like this. And he was rocking this. It's moving too.
Got a mark up there. So it's been about 1 month, 1 month tomorrow since it happened.
Yeah.
And you could see the outline of a figure. How much detail could you see?
So if you were to see, you would see the side, this side and this side. This was blocking the body, middle of the body mass.
Okay.
And it was dark, so my lamp, it's a pretty good 30 feet away in the shadow. But when I really turned and looked, you could see it had this brown, like a dark brown, hairy color fur.
Okay.
Something in it. And the way this was moving, look at it. Like when you move it,
Right, you can't
this
even.
is very.
Yeah, you can't barely budge it. All right, let's talk about that for something, because that's another aspect of a common denominator is tree shaking, either to get our attention or to scare us off. Well, now we know great apes do that, shake trees violently. But in your instance, it wasn't trying to chase you off. It was actually trying to get your attention again from the rock throws, shattering on the rock line, on the shoreline, the tree knocks, and then you come up that slope as we saw. You walk, I don't know, 25 yards maybe, and then there it is. You see a silhouette shaking that tree. Was it violently?
Yes. Yes, it was shaking violently, and that's what caught my attention. I had a headlamp on at that time because I put all my equipment and everything in my backpack. I want climbing that ridge. I want to have my hands free because it's loose ground. I come up, crusted over that ridge, and I hear this really low, guttural kind of a, like a growl, like, what, are you still here, kind of an attitudinal growl. And it caught my attention, so when I panned over to the noise, I hear the noise of this tree shaking it, and I looked up because I saw it. That's why I heard it. It was up at the top of the branches. But when I looked up, the light was shining up, but I saw this shadow or something move at the bottom, so I panned down, and there he was, standing there, shouldering that tree, and I thought at that point he was trying to push it down onto me. I just took off running towards my truck.
All right, let's.
Go ahead.
Anything else? And we'll jump back into the video because Bev Strada, real quick, everybody. Bev Strada points out a very important common denominator. We're going to go to it right now, put it on screen. How about eye shine? So I know I've gotten eye shine before. Actually got it on camera, we believe, in the Aaron Spencer episode, episode 7 of season 1. So back to Sherry. You're fleeing at this point. Let's go ahead and get
This thing
Let's
like
see here.
Like a twig.
like a twig.
Like a twig. That's what caught my attention. And you know, he growled.
Okay.
He made this kind of you still hear kind of a attitudinal growl.
Okay, kind of a grunt growl.
Yeah. And it was so low, like a low chest like a barrel sound.
Okay.
Wow, that's what was so unusual.
So the initial first one was kind of a grunt, like to get your attention.
And then all of a sudden this thing went off.
Okay.
And that's what caught my attention more than anything, because I didn't know where the growl came from. And then when this started moving, I was able to point my headlamp
Right.
in the direction of this tree moving. And then that's when I saw the profile. Like if I was to do it, it would be more like he was, and it looked like he wanted to really move and push it down towards me. I was standing right there.
So he was really, first he wanted to get your attention, and then he wanted to intimidate you to leave, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I took off running, which you could see, this is, it's 50, 60 feet away, I jumped in my truck. And when I started moving out of there, that's when that branch hit the side of my vehicle.
Oh, that's right. He threw a branch and hit the side of your vehicle. We just got a picture of that. We'll film that in a little bit. Wow.
So he followed me.
Yep, followed you out to your truck, waited for you to start to drive off, and then threw that at you as a final exclamation point to get on out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, let's recap that. So, kind of doing an overview. He's watching you. He's tracking you. First contact is the rock thrown, smashing on the shoreline. Couldn't be confused with a rock falling off of a bank. No, it was thrown. Deliberate. It was deliberate. And then the tree knocks. It's getting dark. You're getting out of there. And then he's shaking the tree. And there's another aspect, Sherry. The grunts or the grunt or dog bark type grunts. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
The ones I've heard. Oh, the one I heard. Oh, and then I looked over and then I've got that shot of that one. But yeah, so it's getting your attention. At that time, you thought maybe he was trying to push the tree down onto you. Do you still agree with that assumption?
No, I don't anymore. Especially at the end when he threw I think he was trying to stop me. In a way to have a little bit of a conversation. I hate to say this, but it's mind speak. In a way, because as I took off running, he said, "I am the guardian, and the guardian of the children." And and I hear this around me, not in my head, around me. And I'm, mind you, got all that. This is the first time I'm realizing that these things exist. Like, seriously, I'm seeing something that I didn't even give two hoots about, but now they exist as I'm running full speed for my life. And I realized that, yeah, and watching this tonight is kind of rough. I haven't watched my episode in a while, so it's bringing back some. But
appreciate it.
Caused me PTSD, folks. For a while, I worked through that. But when I got in that truck and I turned and it threw the stick at me, I stopped for a second because I thought I thought I ran into a tree because I just was not focused. I just wanted to get out of there, and it's a 2-track. So I stopped for a moment, and then I realized I was on the 2-track, and then I took off. And then at the end of that 2-track, I stopped and I started processing what went down. But what that meant, the guardian children, guarding the children, whatever that meant at the time, I had no clue. But the mind speak continued for weeks after, months after.
Yeah, and I want to, and we don't have to talk about that anymore. I am the guardian, the keeper of the children.
Yeah.
If we do have kind of an episode 2, everybody, but that is totally up to Sherry if we release that. There is a bigger story behind Sherry's sighting, and that'll be up to Sherry if we want to talk about it. But I do want to point out one more thing before we jump to Scott. In this episode, there's a moment where I'm like, well, maybe if it was standing there, maybe there's a footprint. And what did we find? Let me try to find that.
So this might be his territory. I have a theory that, okay, we're going to look right behind us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab my tape measure, and then we're gonna get some pictures about what that height might be.
So it's coming up.
All right. And then, so we find the footprint, and then we do show everybody. So check out Sherry's episode, season 2, episode 1, on our YouTube channel, on the Roku TV platform through the Bigfoot TV app. You can kind of see all the ins and outs of that interview. Sherry Adu, it has been nothing but a blessing since I've met you. So I can't thank you enough for sharing your story on this platform. And on top of that, being just a staple, a permanent part of this platform. I appreciate you so much and everything you've done.
Thank you, Brian, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely. All right, kids. We got another guy sitting here in the studio, Scott Brush. And if I'm correct, he was episode 7 of season 2, man. And what can we fricking say about Monroe, Michigan, and the history of sightings there? And Scott is kind of one of the cornerstones down there in Monroe, Michigan, following up on all of these sightings, these indications. I mean, my girlfriend Laura, her daughter, even had a sighting and an encounter down there recently. And so he lives there, man. He's digging into this stuff. So let's kind of have some fun and jump into Scott's episode, and we'll do a little bit of a breakdown with him as well. So let's jump on to his episode right now.
And I would hike back here all the time, jog back here. Didn't think much of it. I'd see weird structures that looked a little deliberate. Didn't really think anything of it. But you'll see when you get back here that it feels different. Like you feel like you're being watched. Like you know that this is their territory. About half a mile straight on down is where I saw, obviously I think it's a portal, nothing else makes any sense.
Good to see you, my man. Finally meet in person.
Absolutely.
All right, Scott, let's go over that real quick, just because it's a little bit loud in the restaurant. What did we talk about at that table? You brought about one of the most interesting data points. And I know it's a source out there. Val Savala has talked about it before, other people in Michigan. What is that data point about the War of 1812?
During the War of 1812, documented in the various soldiers, enemy and friendly side, there are accounts of ape-like creatures climbing the walls, stealing the rations during the war while they were engaging the enemy. So Sasquatch is also an opportunist.
That's crazy. So you've got a war going on.
Yep.
We've got at this time it's the French and the Americans, I think, teaming up with some certain Indian tribes against the British and some certain Indian tribes. That is the Raisin River or River Raisin account,
Yep.
War of 1812, very well known in Monroe, Michigan, where there's so much blood in the water. It turned the river there a tint of red, and thus you get the name River Raisin, that color. So while these factions are warring against each other, you have statements in certain soldiers' journals or diaries about these strange creatures climbing up over the walls and stealing food rations. Correct, Scott?
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
Now think about it. What do we got at that time? Muskets at best. So we're taking 15, 20 minutes to reload while we got Bigfoot climbing the wall. Imagine that. You're 16 years old in the war, and now you have a something that you probably didn't even know existed climbing a wall while you're getting shot at. I mean, you can visualize the scene. Like, that wouldn't be a bad movie. That'd be a decent movie if we could throw that in there.
Bingo, Scott. Gosh. So to me, that's a historical reference point where the naysayers, I want to say, oh, go do your homework before you play an armchair quarterback and make statements just to hurt people's feelings. Get educated first. So that's my comment to all the armchair quarterbacks out there who say Sasquatch doesn't exist. So let's go ahead, jump a little bit forward in this episode when we get out into the woods.
2-3 months? I'd say so. 3, yeah, maybe even 4. It's a great pathway. Me and my buddy were out here doing some field research, doing some whoops, wood knocking, that sort of thing. We came right around this corner, and right from out this direction, about, I'd say, half mile, you just hear just loud. It just carried, like it was just letting us know, hey, we're here. You guys want some results? Here you go. Here we are. And after that, we just kind of kept on going. So I'm like, I want to stop, but I don't want to stop after that. I didn't know if that was a warning, but they were coming for sure. And it was right about here. And I think that they travel because the river's over there to the west. So they have all the food, all the water they can need, and they come over here, which is basically an unofficial nature preserve. Nobody can hunt. Nobody fishes over here. Why wouldn't you go to where there's an unlimited food supply, Right about here, you can see that tree, how it's just kind of up there in the V of that tree. Now you can pretty much debunk windfall because look at the base. That probably fell from over here. It's like something drugged that up into position. So we might be looking at the start of a possible teepee structure right here.
Also, Scott, I want to point out, I don't know if I brought it up in this episode. That's a big deal. If you can kind of get close to that type of a tree structure and identify it as possibly being pushed over, like you're talking about, in episode 3, episode 4 of season 1, we went to Slemp, Kentucky. I witnessed Hank Kress, a Shawnee Tribes Indian, and at one point he took us to the top of the mountain. Now, as we're up there, there's a cliff, and this cliff. So we're on a 2-track, but then you look up this cliff that's about 2-3 stories high, and there are a line of trees, not like 1 or 2, and that's just nature. They were lined up, and you can see it in this episode if you take a look at it on YouTube or Roku. They're lined up, and Hank makes a statement. Oh yeah. Now this is a guy who's used to being with Bigfoot. He's grown up there his whole life. He's used to seeing Bigfoot. It's no big deal to him. And he says they would use those to climb up. That would get them to catapult up that rock face cliff, or the face of that cliff. It would help them get up that quicker. Not that they couldn't, climb straight up it, but they'd run up the trees that were leaned against those cliffs. So when I saw that tree, and I've seen them in multiple places lined up like that, so they can just quickly get up into that or get up into a tree. So that one you're pointing out, they may have done that to quickly been able to get up in a tree. I'm sure they get up trees quickly anyways, but I thought that was a fascinating point.
If you look right over here, you can see where they're kind of like arched over, not quite broke. Something literally manipulated the structure of this thing to kind of do like a dome-like shape.
Kind of over the game trail.
Exactly. And you can kind of see where they have stuff sort of stacked up in a deliberate pattern next to it. I mean, that right there, man, unless somebody wandered off the trail and started that, which I highly doubt, there's another sign of your activity right there.
It's very subtle, isn't it?
Same with here. It's like a base of maybe like a primitive structure. I mean, I know they build them, but who's to say that they wouldn't use
it's
something
almost
that
like
already
a teepee,
exists?
like you could sit underneath there.
Exactly. That's where I would go, like in a storm or something. I'd take shelter under something like that for sure.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny how we learn about this subject as we go. Everything you're just showing there, Scott, is so prevalent in so many other locations. What is that? What do we call those? Deer blinds. The Sasquatch will make these makeshift. Now, yes, a hunter could have made these, blah, blah, blah. We get all that. But you'll find also in Sasquatch territory, you'll find these makeshift deer blinds, and the Sasquatch will sit in these deer blinds, and they're usually by a game trail or 2-track, whatever. And when the wild game, mainly deer, come down these 2 tracks, that deer blind kind of obstructs the figure enough of a Sasquatch, especially if it's pitch dark, and they're able to reach out and grab a deer and break its neck. Is that right, Scott?
Yes, it is. I believe that's an old hunting tactic. You'll see, like right where the turn would be, you'd have like a tree break. But when a deer runs, they have to stop and reassess their trajectory. So in that time, you have one Sasquatch chasing the deer to that tree, and another finishes the job.
I've even heard, just responding to somebody online right now. Hello, Dragonfly, 17668. Hello from Clarkston. Have property in Clare, Michigan. Things show on how a trail can. Ooh, love to talk to you. And Blue Line Outdoors as well. I meticulously documented my incidents in several Michigan counties and many plaster casts of prints. Due to my profession, I never really shared it with anyone, but recently made a BFRO report. Very cool. Hey, Blue Line, totally up to you. But as you can see, the email scrolling at the bottom there, Bigfoot with an S, Bigfoots of America at gmail.com. If you email me, I'd love to talk to you. We can talk on the phone, whatever you want to do. If you're even interested in being on a podcast show or maybe filming an episode for our season 5, maybe even season 4, let me know. And that goes to everyone out there. So I just wanted to say hello, Dragonfly, right now. Very cool. Very cool. So I added that to the list. Ancient hunting technique, you're saying, Scott. Deer blinds, where the Sasquatch can sit in these things like a hunter would, but instead of shooting deer, they're going to reach out and grab them with that extensive arm reach. All right, let's get back to Scott's episode real quick.
Crocodiles practice tree structures. That's why some of them look better than others. I think something straight up didn't like this, so it said screw it. I mean, you can see where it's corkscrewed from here to here.
Yeah, it's been twisted and then around. Good point.
Like windfall's not going to do that. Not at the base of a corner like that. 'Cause, I mean, that was a pretty green tree, you can tell.
All right, we got to touch on that real quick. Tree breaks. To me, that is different than tree structures, everybody. Very important. I'm going to say it and then let our guests talk about it. In my opinion, it's very important. Like Scott just showed you there. Number one, it's twisted and it's broken off. There are multiple reasons why these are done. They are shown to show if other Sasquatch come into a current location of a current clan, they will do these tree breaks. Number one, to show how big around these tree breaks are. If they twist one and break one, that shows the strength of the Sasquatch. Now, if they're up high at certain levels, that will also signify the height of the alpha Sasquatch that's already in that territory. And that's a warning to other Sasquatch not to come into their territory, or that there's a clan already here. And it may even be a sign to humans. We just haven't really picked up on it as much. But we're learning, right? What do you think, Scott and Sherry?
Oh, yeah, I think we never stop learning. That you have to be malleable in this field, and I think that you can have 30 years of knowledge, but guess what? You're going to need another 30, and then another 30. It's a lifetime. It's a lifetime thing. We're lucky enough that God allows us to be on this journey to continue to find all the stuff that we have. I mean, we've broken ground that some people won't be able to. You know, we're in a subject that's widely considered taboo, and are really cracking some skulls in it, man, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Good statement. Good statement. Sherry, we also found, did we find tree? No, we found tree structures in
Correct.
your episode as well. Oh, that was the second episode we filmed. I'll shut up about that. Yeah. You had found, oh man, there's so much more.
We're going to have to play that second one, I think.
Oh, well, I haven't
keep
edited
talking
it
about
yet.
it.
I just have, I mean, I would have to edit it. And then
You
the
would.
one amazing tree structure, tree blind at the location that just blows everything wide open of what he spoke to you. I am the guardian. I am the keeper of the children.
Yeah.
These things, we're going to say this really quick and then get back to Scott's episode. I'm sorry, everybody at home, they may live longer than 100 years. They definitely outlive our lifespan as humans. I've heard anywhere from 50 to 500 years of age. I've even heard older than that. So keep that under your hats, everybody, as well. All right, getting back to North. Scott says, Dragonfly, I grew up in Isabella Road, in Clare. Hey, Dragonfly, we're going to have a town hall meeting up there in Gladwin. Throwing that out there to everybody. September 26th, 9 a.m., 6 p.m. Multiple speakers. So much information is going to be given out there. Let's get back to Scott's episode.
One day we came out here just doing some investigating. Right at the front of this path where we came onto the trail, one of these trail markers was laid perfectly over the path as if to say, hey, we don't want you coming any further. Now, I know when I'm not welcome, I really do, so I didn't go past it. We listened to our guts, we didn't go over, we don't know what would have happened if we did, but coincidentally, that was the same night the portal happened. So maybe coming in here could have saved our lives, who knows. But just seeing one of these over the path, and this was from the other trail. The one that was covering the trail was from Redloop. Who was going to carry one of these heavy markers from there to here to block the path off?
Wow.
Kind of vanishes off here into the brush.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great track, honestly. You check this track out. And if you come over on my side, you'll notice the actual toe bed right here. This appears to be a left based on where the big toe would be, and then it kind of vanishes off here into the brush.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great track, honestly.
All right, let me catch.
For being 3-4 days old, that's a phenomenal track.
On that side. Yeah, that is strange. Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see how you kind of see where the mud is starting to crumble up at
Yep.
the toes? So it's almost like she dug in and stepped. It slid, obviously. I'm guessing that happened when there was still water pooled up in that. I mean,
We did find a lot of footprints that day.
Jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite footprints is there. Let's see if it pops up. Well, you got that one. That's a great.
Yeah, that was great.
That one had a dog footprint inside of it, or a coyote. Is that it? Well, there's that one there. That shows the toes. I love that.
Oh, yeah, up at the top left there. Yeah.
And then there's the really big one. And I think that's the one we found.
These are the weird things I can't explain out here.
All right. I think that's the one we found after the grunt, Scott. So everybody at home, we got to start cutting things a little bit short because I want to get to a little premiere of season 1 of episode 3. But Scott, I think that last footprint was the one we found after the grunt. Remember, we heard, or was it a tree? I can't remember. So yeah, check out Scott's episode. Wonderful episode in season 2. Scott Brush, episode 6 or 7. Doggone it.
7.
Seven.
7. Oh man, I don't know what it is. All right, everybody. Sherry do Scott Brush. Awesome stuff. Thanks for being a part of this platform. Now let's take a quick sneak peek of our season 3, episode 1.
Oh, I'm ready for
Down
this.
in the valleys where the cedar trees and
Hold on, man. I gotta
man
back
walks
that
the path.
There we go. Bye. Season 3, episode 1.
Down in the valleys where the cedar trees and the man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howl of the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please. It started when sunlight began to turn pale, and amid the gold fairy appeared on the trail. She whispered a greeting and she said hello, and pointed to places where the brave man won't go. Now he's bound to
But
the
Susan,
hunt and he's
let's
bound
start
to the
with
chase where the
you.
Okay.
The way I like to do things is I want to know how you first got started, all the way if it takes you back to your childhood. Because for me, it was really the Patterson-Gimlin film On In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy that got me started. So take it away. How'd you get started in the whole cryptid world? And I know it's not just Bigfoot, right?
Right. It actually, what happened is I grew up on the Pawpaw River, lived directly across the street, and there was just always strange sounds coming up out of the swamp, and I spent a lot of time there as a kid alone, you know, never afraid of that place. But there was just weird things always happening. My family, they're all very intuitive. Some are psychic, some are, you know. So I grew up with all that paranormal and cryptid stuff, and so I guess I was just kind of raised in it.
Okay.
But the first time we went to where we're going tonight, my friend Linda and them had gotten a hold of me, and they were with the team, and we were doing a Bigfoot conference over in Sister Lakes. Well, the person that was going to take them out that night canceled on them, and I said, oh, I have somewhere we can go explore. I don't know if there's any Bigfoots down there, but you know, we've seen strange stuff down there. So we went down, and one of the guys found a structure. We went down at night, and they found a structure. We had orbs everywhere, and Linda and another lady, we all had walkie-talkies, and they're like, get back here. There's something up here on this hill watching us. It's just stepped out from behind the tree. And one of the girls snapped a really good picture of the arm coming around the tree, and this Bigfoot kind of leaning out, and you could just see the mass. And the fingers on this thing were like this in the picture. And we explored, we did our things, and we come back, and I lived literally right around the corner. I grew up there. And I got upstairs in my jammies, and all of a sudden the house shook. Boom! Sounded like a bomb went off. And then boom! Another one, and I'm like, what was that? So I get a hold of these guys, and they're like, uh-oh, they tracked you back to your house. I'm like, oh boy. So the way I am, I'm like, well, I'm gonna feed it. You know, that was Mom's cure for everything. Just feed it. So I'm like, I'm gonna feed these things. So my
Last
brother,
thing you want to do, but
yeah, my brother and I lived, you know, right on the edge of the swamp. So I would leave out whatever rotisserie chicken was left and this kind of thing. And I'd get up, and the next morning it's gone. And I'm thinking, okay, there's raccoons and But yeah, I think we have Bigfoots coming up, and I got a couple of pictures of a big track.
Nice.
And then a small track. And then once they would, so I mean, this was a ritual. My brother and I would leave food out for them every night, and we would hear them whooping down back behind the house by the creek. We could hear them all the way across the field at night. They became very vocal with me, and I'm like, okay, we're friends now. And but every time they came and they got food, they would slap the side of the house twice.
Awesome.
And I've heard people say, oh, that's an act of aggression. I think the first night they might have been upset that we were in their territory down there, and they know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But after that, it was every time they got food, they would hit that house twice. And I mean, it would shake your kitchen, you know. And so I just started going down by myself. And one morning I got up to go to work, and I felt something like looking at me. You know how you get that feeling.
Yeah.
And I turned and I look, and across the field, here's this big, the first thing I thought was, why is there a gorilla across the field? And it's huge, it's like 10 foot tall. And he's the big guy, we call him. He's not afraid to appear before you. He'll show himself.
Wow.
Yeah, and he'll mind speak with you. Oh, definitely. And he was just looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, okay, I've opened up a can of worms here, because this isn't going to stop. So I got in my car and went to work, and so every time I go down, I take them cookies, and they'll send me mental messages, and I'll see those cookies. So I'm like, okay, they like the cookies, and usually I take them a bag of apples too, but they have berries and stuff now. And yeah, so that's how I got started in it. And once you see one, Brian, it's not that I'm obsessed with them, but
You're obsessed.
I want to know more.
You're obsessed.
Yeah,
it's a passion.
It's a passion. It does.
Yeah.
It becomes a passion, and it's like the feeling they give you is the ones we're gonna go see tonight. It's wonderful. It's like, oh, there is something out there, you know, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience, and I just became hooked.
Okay. What do you? All right. All right. So, everybody at home, that is our premiere episode of season 3, just released in the last 24 hours. You can go to Bigfoot of America, or at Bigfoot of America on YouTube, and watch that episode. That was Susan Moore, and Linda Pomeranke is also sitting there. They both have had multiple experiences with Sasquatch, and Susan has even had 2 dogman encounters. She's been on Small Town Monsters, other shows, I should say. And I've been out there twice. So I was out there all that day for, almost 24 hours. Then I came out again. We did a night expedition, and we had activity. And I got to check my thermal, but I may even have a Squatch on thermal. I'm not sure, but you're going to see all that coming up, hopefully in the part 2. That was part 1. So that was episode 1 of season 3. And then episode 2, which is the part 2 of this episode, should be released sometime in the next week. So yeah, check that episode out. Check out Sherry Redue's episode 1 of season 2. Scott Brush at Home, episode 7 of season 2. Hey guys.
Hey, you got it that time.
Yes, I got it. Guys, if I didn't have to go to work, we'd keep going, but I got to go to work. So, hey, let's go around the horn. Sherry, where can they find you or contact you at, folks at home?
You can find me right through the Bigfoots of Michigan Facebook page. I'm one of the moderators in the group, so you can be able to contact me through Messenger.
Awesome. Scott Brush of Urban Bigfoot. Awesome. Where can people find you at?
You can find me right on the Urban Bigfoot Facebook page, or, message me personally, whatever. Get a hold of me regardless.
Fantastic, brother. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this show up. Everybody at home, thanks for tuning in again. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bigfoot of America podcast show.
Down in the valleys where the cedar trees moan, the man walks the paths that he calls his own home. He doesn't fear shadows or the chill in the air. While others stay hidden, he's already there. His name is Boom Boom, and he's known through the state, from the Detroit lights to the cold northern gate. A legend of Michigan, bold and so wild, with the heart of a hunter and the soul of a child. He's the madman of Michigan, tracking the dark, leaving his footprint and leaving his mark. With NCI standing right by his side, there's nowhere the monsters can scurry and hide. From the flick of a tail to the howl in the breeze, he's the king of the night and he does what he please. It started when sunlight began to turn pale, and amid the gold fairy appeared on the trail. She whispered a greeting and she said hello, and pointed to places where the brave man won't go. Now he's